Alright, you sexy lot, it's Koit here and I'm back, this time to show you the animation process. So watch all the steps that I make to create the wonderful animations that I bring to you. Begin! Okay, so step one for me will be literally creating a storyboard. So I've decided on what animation I want to do, and this one will be the lead animation for my new album, Body Parts, Poo and Farts. It's going to be an animation called What Does a Duck Do? So what I normally do is literally draw out a storyboard. So I will separate this into roughly 12. So bang, 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 and bang. And then I will literally label them 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Da-da-da-da. Oh yes, I can count to 12, you know. Like that. And then I will literally try my best to think of something to go with the lyrics for X amount of seconds. Now I always put an intro, obviously, the Koit credits at the beginning. They will always go in box 1. And then I'll just keep filling this out. I'm probably going to need about 24 pieces of storyboard. So I will meet you back here after I've drawn it. Okay, so I've just finished the storyboard. As you can see there, literally just put a very, very, very basic drawing for each scene. So this part here is what does a cow do? Moo moo. And then a cow will come up at the screen and do something stupid, etc. So I've basically done 3 pages, it turned out, which went up to scene 31, which is the ending. And then I do a scene each for each of the like creation-y bits. So like the credits at the beginning, the loader, subs. You won't see it on the video, but I actually create subs for all of my animations. And the reason I do that is because I also release my animations in Flash. So if you want to, you know, see the lyrics or hear the whatever, see it on screen at the same time as the animation, you can watch them in Flash, and obviously sound effects as well. Then what I do is work out the percentage per scene. So if I do 2 scenes today, it'll be 5.6 or sorry 5.72 percent done of that animation, and that figure goes on my website to say this is my progress towards this animation's completion. So yeah, that's the storyboarding process done. Okay, so once I've completed my storyboard, I'll then create the folder structure for the animation. So I've got a main folder called Koit's Animations. I'll create a new folder and call this What Does a Duck Do? Because that's going to be the animation in question. I will copy that title. Actually, I don't know why I copied that title, to be fair. You'll see why in a minute. Then I'll take my template, go into What Does a Duck Do? See, I bet you if I try to rename that, it won't work now. So, I'm going to go back out there, copy that title, rename my template, What Does a Duck Do? And then I will load that template into Flash. Right, so whilst you see the old credits for Bumpy Doodah, that's just because that was the template created at the time. Anyway, so I'm going to minimize that, and I need to get the MP3 for that song, which I have over here created ready. So I'll copy that in there, and now he's ready. So we'll go back to the animation in Adobe Flash, and then I will lob that music onto there. It's set up to run just after beginning. So if I go to library, if I can actually click correctly, and then I will import to library and get out of that straight away. We want to go to Koit's Anims. We want to go to What Does a Duck Do? Import that bad boy. There he is, and we will drag that onto the timeline. So now it'll begin there. So the way I set up my animations is this. I'll have a loader here, which when you play via Flash, you know, you'll have a loading screen and you've got to press the play button to begin it. When you're watching these sort of things on YouTube, it just starts here at frame 2 and automatically plays. So you see, if I put the backing on, this is how it truly looks. So you put the Koit Studios, that'll fade out. And then here on frame 135, that is where the animation truly begins. The song begins on frame 136, one later. So what I always do in my animations is set up scenes per sections. So this one, you'll see, if I play it a sec. What does it do? Right, so I need to get to roughly there is where the end of scene 1 is going to end, right? Because the way I want this to happen is, there's the scene. So scene 1, I always put every scene on its own layer and label it appropriately, right? So I've created this grey square, which is just a placeholder for that scene. So that's just the intro. And then, in theory, scene 2 begins right here. All right, so that's where scene 2 will begin, and then I'll create an animation part for that. Anyway, because that's an intro, I will then show you how to create that intro. What I tend to do is always do the loader, the intro first, and that's obviously the start of the song before any singing comes in. So in this case, I'll start here on line, if I can click it properly, on 135. What does it do? So that bit. So what I normally do is I will go to a website. I'm going to go to defont.com. And then in there, I will look for a font that I can use. That's the intro text. So what shall I use? What shall I use? That one's as good as any, actually. So he will do. And I will save him. And I will save that in Koit's Anims. What does a duck do? And save that. So that when I come in here, I'll extract it. And then I will install it. So duck demo it's called. And then I will go back into the scene that I created. Go in there. Oh, actually, before I do that, let's see how many frames it is. So we're talking 135 to 203. So you're talking 65 plus 3, 68. I normally would do it just to cover it, say 75. And then that will cover it. Call that one background. I'll put in a new layer. And this will be title. So if I whack that up, I'll just say, what does a duck do? Question mark. And now I will go to here and go duck. There we go. That changes that to that. But it doesn't have a bloody question mark, does it? Which is typical. So I will add one in at some stage. So I've created the text for the title. That. And then I will create extra layers for an anim. And then Koit. Okay, so I will do the same with that. In fact, I'll copy that. There. I'll drop that down a bit. Just change that to an animation. Yeah, an animation by. Then all I'll do is center it by pressing Control Alt and 2, and that centers any stuff. And then I will do, nope, sorry, being silly. Copy that one, paste it in place, drop that down, and call that Koit. Center that again. Okay, so I've got basic text put in, so it'll come up first. Then the early part of the beats, what does a duck do? Then an animation by, and then Koit. And these will be different sizes and probably different colors and stuff. Okay, so what I've done initially, you can see from the title that I've changed the color to orange, and I've put a question mark on the end. It wasn't part of this font set, but what I did was add in a different one from another font. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break apart that after making the text roughly big enough where I want it on the screen. That breaks it into initial components. Then I'm going to break it apart again. That destroys the font and makes it an individual shape. Then what I'm going to do is, not with that one actually, bollocks, where is it again? There he is, ink bottle tool. And I will change the outline to be black, and then all I'm going to do is click on each of those, and then that allows it to have a nice cheeky little outline. Not every font has an outline on it, so you have to create one yourself. Okay, and then I press F8 and turn that back into the oh, it's already taken because I've just created it, so let's just call it title duck. Alright, so that's now a new object, because what the idea of Flash is it runs on objects. So in this case, that's a movie clip called Title Duck that enables me, because once it's created as an object, I can then move that object. So I will do the same with an animation, but first let's change its color to, let's do white. It won't matter because I can change it afterwards if I need to. And break that bad boy apart. And then just do the same again. So I will outline each item by clicking on the letter in question. And obviously constituent parts. An animation by, yeah, that's right. Then I will convert that to an object. So animation, call that. And then Koit. I tend to do Koit in red a lot. It's just another contrast versus the top color. And I will make that bigger as well. So let's put that at 100, say. Not 1,000, 100. Yeah, that's good. Center that. And obviously placings and positions I'll do in a sec, but I just wanted to show you how you can do things on this. So I'm breaking it apart again. I will add on the outline. I'm not worried about the thickness looking different, you know, in ratio to the size of the lettering. I'm just going to keep it as it is. And then we'll call that one Koit. And that is perfect. So now these parts are ready. What I'll now do is create the background so then I can animate over it, because it's just simpler that way for me because I can see things. So what I'm going to do is turn off that BG. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to delete that BG. So I've highlighted the frame. Press the delete button, that gets rid of that bad boy. Now what I'll do is, I tend to like my blue backgrounds with a white gradient, so I'll draw that in. So all I'm doing is doing that, and I'm doing outside the viewable area. I'll show you that again. There's your viewable grid, the white stuff with the grey squares on. I've drawn it outside of it. And then what I'm going to do is double click on the outline, press delete button, and that gets rid of the outline. I could have done it a slightly different way, because when I draw on the square, I could have turned the outline off, but it doesn't matter. I did it that way. So now I'm going to click on the background, and I'm going to select, actually no I'm not, I'm going to go to window, and then I'm going to go to color. And that enables you to change the background to what you want. Now I'm going to change it to, let's do a radial. So in this case, let's put, the back outline is white, that's fine, and I'll change that one there to the blue. So I'll do a blue middle in a circular radial going out to white. And I kind of think that looks better because it can contrast with the white then in the center. And that'll do. I just like the blue and white background. It's I've always liked blue. And that's probably why you see it in all of my animations. Plus it contrasts always with pink and brown, which I tend to use a lot of objects that are pink or brown for obvious reasons. So now I've got the background, I've got the text, and then all we need to do is animate the titles, or the objects, if you will, to the music. So what I tend to do is I will turn everything off to begin with, apart from the title. And this is just sort of like playing around with it, really. So I want it to appear at this size at the ends, but where do I want it to appear? Roughly, say, there, right? So that's going to be the end. I want it to guess it's going to be about on frame 10. So it won't be there to start with. Let's have that there. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. And what I'm going to do is scale this down. So I've got to remember how to do everything because I haven't animated for a while. There we go. And then what I'll do in here is put in a classic tween. And what that does is the program itself takes it from that size, small size, and automatically adjusts the median frames to then hit the final one. So I didn't have to do the sizing of that. The program does. So basically that's going to come at screen like that. Now all I'll do is save that and then I will play it just to see if it works. It's taking a long time. Right, so we'll go back again. So it's roughly on 10. I think it should be 9. So if I move that back, and then I'm going to alter that forward. So what I've got is less, so it'll be faster now. So I've only got 3 frames of animation, or technically 2, because 2 move in to the end one at 3. So if I play that again, I'll need to see why it's taking so long to export the SWF movie. Probably because I got large files in the library. That's better. So the animation of that coming in was perfect. So we know that the animation speed should be 3, and then it's just timings. So I'm going to put that centered. So if it's roughly on 9, I reckon it's roughly on 20. Bang, bang, bang. Then we're going to make this one smaller. So we do the same again. We'll scale it down, drop it to about there, and then put in a classic tween. And I'll do the same with Koit, and I'll put that on 30. It won't be these, by the way. I'll always have to change it. So, because it's just guesswork for the most part. Right, I did that wrong, so let me just drop that back a sec. And then put it there. Put in a keyframe at 30. Then I'll make that one smaller. So, about there-ish. And tween it in. So, now if I save that and then play it, you should get an idea of roughly what it'll look like. And begin. Right, so we know that's clearly not right. Let's pop that to say there, and that one to say 50. And we test again. And this is what it's like. It's a lot of trial and error, especially with anything to do with timing and music and or comedy timing. It's just tweak, play again, tweak, play again, test, tweak. So let's play that again. Does that fit? No, slightly out by I think 1 frame each time. So that would have to move forward 1 frame. That would then have to move forward 2. Play that again. When it decides to load. Come on, sometime today would be good. And then, yeah, there you go. So the timing of that, and that's how you animate. Simple animations anyway. I'll show you how to do the other animaty parts in a minute when I actually get into the meat and bones of it. But yeah, that's how I would do an intro, and that's the same sort of process I run for every animation. Okay, so here I am back in the animation. I've just done that intro scene. And now I'm going to start or show you how I would do a normal animation scene. So I'll draw a square on screen, center it, convert that to a symbol, and I'm going to call that 2. Make it as a graphic, shall I? Yeah, I'm going to make it as a graphic and play once so I can actually see it when I drag across the... Because I think that one is. Yeah, that's a graphic. Okay. What I was looking at there is if you can create a scene in as either a graphic or a movie clip. A movie clip doesn't play when you drag the timeline header across the timeline like this, but a graphic does if you set it to play. So that's all I've done there. So what I'm going to do is set this instance or graphic called 2. So that's scene number 2 on layer number 2. I'm just going to work out the timing for that. So roughly there, I think. So let's just say, nope. Right, I reckon it's there. So if we do this now, and then that's where the quack quack will join in, which is technically scene 3. So we've got 204 to 246, so we're talking 42. I can make that, I say, a 45 frame clip, essentially. So, as ever, I will call that background, and I will put in here duck. Now, the aim of this scene, as per my storyboard, is just to have a duck going across the screen, quite large. So what I've done is I have grabbed a duck animation, actually, that I had drawn for the New Year's resolution animation up here. I've taken it from this scene, and I've got that walking like that. Anyway, I don't need any more, so I'll close that. Grabbed him. Now, here's the advantage of having a movie clip. Now, I can make this bigger now, so if I just go to Modify, Transform, Scale, I can turn this bad boy into quite a large duck. Obviously, what that does is make it look slightly crapper on screen because it highlights or magnifies, if you will, the poorness of the drawings or the animations to begin with, but it's not going to appear on screen for that length of time. So what I'll do is I'll flip him horizontally because I want him to walk right to left. So if I put him, say, there, excuse me, remove that twee, lob him over here like that. Now that particular animation, he turns, but anyway. So I need to continue him walking because see how he's drifting there and looking back, because in the last animation he stops at that frame. So I'll go into it and look at what that animation is. That's waddling, and that there is a duck turn, so we don't need that duck turn. So I'm taking that out, clearing that off, clearing these keyframes, and that one as well. So in theory now, he should just keep walking. Right, so if I play that, you should see all the way from the beginning, including the intro that we just made. And that's it. Now all I need to do is put a background in there, a decent background, and then that'll be a completed scene. So I'll get onto that now. So, in fact I shouldn't have done that. Let's convert that to a background. So I'm going to call that 2BG, but I am going to change that to a movie clip, and there's a reason for this, even though I can make it move. So it's still 45, I will still put it at that, even though it may be a static background, and there's a reason why. Because if I choose to animate the background as well, that will play. Now, the reason I chose a movie clip is because I actually want it to blur. So I go down to my filters area, and I'm going to add a blur, and we'll just say 3. I'll call it high. I want a better quality of output. And what that does is then, because our focus is on the duck in the foreground, I want the background to be blurred, essentially, as it would with your eyes normally. If you're looking at something close, you're not going to be focused on the background. So that's why I've done that. That's a movie clip. So what I'm going to do here is do a sky, and I will put a solid color on. Doesn't matter at this stage, this is just a placeholder. There we go. I've created a box. I'm going to color that in. We will change the gradient to a linear, and the good news is it's already set up like that way, and you can see the gradient goes this way. So what I'm going to do is change my gradient transform tool, do this, and then what happens is, if I can square it up nicely, It's good as. There we go. And now we have a gradient sky from white to blue at the top, all right? So that's what I've done there. That will drop down to right in the background. Then I will put some grass in, and I'll literally just draw this. So I'll take me tablet pen. Come in over here. Let's get, it doesn't matter, any color at this stage. And I will literally just draw any old line, don't matter. It's set to smooth my line, so if I draw quite jaggedy, it's got a smoothing variable of 50, so it makes it better. And then I paint bottle that in, and you can see that's just an easy way of making a quick piece of ground. But I will gradient that as well. So I'll go to window color, linear, put a dark green to a fairly light green. And then I'll do the same again. I'll take my gradient tool. And there we go. Roughly level that out. And now I've got a dark green in the background, as you'd expect, with a lighter green at the front. So that's the grass. Now, you don't just tend to have a floor and nothing in the background before the sky. So I will whack in some hills. Always go with a dark colour on this. Just take a bigger, all I've done there is take a bigger brush pen. Just draw some random hills. Any old shape will do. There you go. Although I don't like the way that that's squared off a bit there. It's part of the smoothing. So I've just done that. So that'll be the hills in the background. Now what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to change the alpha value. What that does is change the transparency. So I'm going to take that to 25, and what that's done, it's probably a bit too much actually, so let's go and change that back to 50. Still not enough. Let's change it to, oh, I didn't change this one. 75. That's better. And all I'm going to do is take that down a bit. That's better. Take the sky up a bit to there. And what that does is allow more of the white to appear behind the hill in the background, which you can see is gradiated. I don't even know if that's a word, gradiated, but that's the one I'm using, so that's the one you have to put up with. Okay, so there's a rough background. You need something in the foreground of the background, if you will, so I'm going to put in bushes. I always put bushes in because it's just an easy one to do. Make sure that the pen is set to 100% transparency. That's in none. And then I will just put in, I'll take that down and just draw some, just a generic bush. You know, I'm not great at art, but these are just simple things that looks all right, or roughly all right anyway. It passes us a background, doesn't it? And that's all that matters. I mean, I could be uber detailed if I wanted to be, but that would mean spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on an animation. I mean, you can see how long it's taken me just to do this bit. Imagine doing that across the many scenes I have to do, and then adding quality and depth to every background image. I'm not an artist. I'm just an ideas man, really. And I just do passable stuff like this. That's why my animations are never that great, really, in terms of quality. Because, A, I don't think I have the talent, and B, a lot of the time I can't be arsed. I know that sounds lazy, but it just is what it is. I will add a bit of detail in, so sometimes I just, you know, put in highlights of leaves on the bush. As part of a blurred background, this will smooth out. So whilst it might look quite crap here, it's just random dots and jagged marks on a screen. As part of the blurring effect, it will look a lot better. And yeah, that's all I'm doing. Adding as if like the sun was shining off certain leaves. And then you can go darker as well. So if I take that, drop that colour a bit darker, I could add in darker ones at the bottom as well, you know, just to give it that sort of shaded effect at the bottom. Very basic drawing. if I ever went into collaboration with somebody, say if I had a shed load of money and money was no object, and I could employ somebody as an animator, I would. And I would just focus on the songs. And obviously the storyboarding, because I like storyboarding, coming up with the ideas for how I want to present the comedy, or just visual ideas in general. So ultimately I need to win the lottery so that I can put that into place. Right, so let's see how that very, very, very basic background looks now against the duck. There we go. You can see how it's just blended out. It's a passable thing. And when the eye's going to be focusing on the duck anyway, the background is almost irrelevant. So let's save that. Press play. And you can get a rough idea of James Duck. That's what I'm calling him, James Duck. Right. What does a duck do? And that's it. So now you can see a basic animation scene. I might show you another one, maybe another two, and then just show you progress throughout the animation. Otherwise it's just too much. You don't want to see every scene animated. Okay, so here I am, and you can see I've now moved on to scene 11. And that's this one here. Oh, I don't want to show you that, do I? Don't want to show you that scene. Anyway, so what I'm going to show you now is all about timing, how I time certain things. So I'll play it first. So they poo poo. So I have to try and get that. So what I'll do is I'll go into my animation. I'll do some measure of timing. And then I'll create a red block. So they poo. Or whatever it is. I'll put it one there. And maybe another one about here. I'm not sure. You should just guessing at this stage. And then I'll play it. And see if those blocks fit in with where I want them to be timed. So let's have a look-see. And begin. Right, so nowhere near. So that needs to come back, say, about there. And that one about there. Try again. Oh yes, a lot of my time doing these animations is this. Literally trying to work out the timing. And that was pretty good, wasn't it? Yep, I'd say that's good. So that's where my timing will be. I will now delete those so we don't have the squares on the stage. And now I've got the timing keyframes there on what, 12 and 33. So that's where I'm going to put, that's where the sheep in this scene will plop. So they, and then over there. So that's it. That'll also show you quickly, I'll turn that background off, I'll show you the outline, because I also do outlines sometimes to give me a rough idea of what I want to do on certain keyframes. So I'll call this, center that, call it sheep dance. Call it sheep dance plop actually, because that's what he's going to be doing. And I'm going to graphic him. Yep, graphic. I'm going to play that once. So it goes up to about frame 50. So we'll do it to about 55. And now I'll do a rough outline of what I want the sheep to be doing. So there's his head. He's going to be sort of like doing this. Foot there. That sort of thing, you know. That's his outline. And then he's going to jump. He'll switch round. So by, that was it, 12, wasn't it? And then there was another one on 33, which will be a flipped horizontal version. Because what he's going to do is jump from one leg to the other. Bang, 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 bang. Like that. And that one is technically going to be there because he's going to be starting there, jumping to that one, then jumping back to that. So that's my timing. Now all I've got to do is go ahead and draw, stroke, animate that. So I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, and here we are after I've just finished doing the sheep dance plop animation. So this once this loads, will be exactly what it looks like. I may alter it further, you know, just to get some movement in there with the camera. As in, get the scene moving left or right or whatever, but this is how the timing transpires. And there you are. So I've now finished the animation. What I then do is I tend to go back over it, so I'll play it a number of times and look at bits that I've done and just see if there are any tweaks I need to make. So have I got frame by frame animation? Is it tight enough? You know, does it fit? Does it sync to the music better and stuff like that? I just tidy up lines of bits and bobs. After I've done that, because I've already just done that, after I've done that, I will then look at subs. So that's you know, literally the subs for the music video, so I can put the text on screen. Now you don't see that when I put this on YouTube, but when I create my animations, I also create a Flash version, an Adobe Flash version, and I put that on my website as a backup for people who want to watch it in Flash, and that will have the subs in. So what I'll do is I go to frame 130, which is when my animation actually starts. If I put on the back thing, you'll see it. There we go. Actually, no, I lied. It starts at 135. So I'm being a gimp there. So I go to frame 135, and I've created a new layer. I tend to go to an old animation. So in this one, this is called I Love Pooh, the old Trudy one. I'll copy previous subs bar and the subs button, and I'll lob that in to the frame that I just created. Alright, so that creates a subs and a subs button layer. And then I'll just fill that layer out so that the subs go all the way along the timeline. Now obviously, the subs as it stands right now are words for the Trudy song. So what I tend to do is just go along and delete all keyframes apart from one, which is that one there, and then I'll start over typing from there. So what I need to do is work out when the first words come in. So it's there. So what does a duck do? And that's on 204. As you can see down here, frame 204, and it's starting on 135. So you're talking 65. The difference between those two, 65 plus the 4. So you're talking 69 is where that should come in. So a bit of maths. And then all it is literally just type in the words. So what does a duck do? What does a duck do? It means it's a vital question. I think we all need to answer it. So then, yeah, I'll go through the whole song, working out where I need to put the words for the particular scene. And there you have it. I'll show you that played in a minute. Right, so I've just finished doing the subs, and this is how they will work. I'll only show you a few scenes. So I'll press the S button. What does a duck do? What does a cow do? And there you go. The next step will be going back through the whole animation and literally adding all the sound effects. So here's an example of what I'll do. So for this scene, this one here, the sheep is going to shit on the duck. So I've got to have some measure of sound effect roughly there. So if I go here, lob in a keyframe, I'll unlock these. And then I'm going to find from my... I've only got a small library of sounds that I've imported into this one for now. But let's just take a fart sound and play it. So maybe that one. I like that one better. So we'll take him, lob him in there. And then you can see the sound effect starts about one keyframe less. So we'll see if that works. So let's see what it sounds like. I think it comes in actually too early, doesn't it? Let's just move it back and do it again. And this is what it's like, having to go through the animation scene by scene every time, just adding a different sound effect and seeing is it in tune. Let's try it again. Nope, too early. So again we go. Again we test. And it's like this for every sound effect. I think that worked actually. Let's try that again. Just to test it. I should have done it at the same time, but never mind. Do it again. I think I'm going to put it one more back. Right, let's try again. Yeah, I like that. It's better. And there you have it. So, now I'll go through the whole animation and put sound effects on every scene that needs it. So the next step is to create a YouTube version of the animation. So I've created a file. What does a duck do? YT, YouTube. And now all I have to do is change the ending. So I've got rid of the subs. And now I have to tag on the bit at the end where I normally put in something like this. I'll go over to a previous animation. This one's called Bum, which was the last animation I did. And it's got an end screen. It's just basically the end screen on YouTube that allows you to download, watch an old animation, or subscribe to my channel. So I've got this bit here, piece of audio that I need to grab. So I'll copy that frame. Gonna lob that into this bit here. Bang, bang. So that has now pasted that bit of audio. So now I need to add in a number of frames. So how many are we talking about here? 1275 to 1775, say, so about 500 frames. So 500 on top of 1920 will take me to 2420. So I'm scrolling over to 2420. Mark that in there. Insert a frame. I know this is only rough, and as you can see, there's the end of the audio about here. So I can cut the animation off about there, 2305. So I'll do that there. Get rid of those extra frames I whacked in, and then lob that across the whole animation. I just like it to look neat. It's easier for me to follow if I ever want to do stuff in the future. So I've lobbed in the audio. If you like the song, blah, 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 blah. And then I need to whack in a bit of music. Now I've created a snippet for this. Let's see, have I unloaded it? No, I haven't. So let's grab hold of that. It's in here actually. So if I do this, that should, in theory, drag it to the timeline. Let's put it in here anyway. So if I now drag that onto there. So this will be the ending. And if you like the song, why not download it? There's many others. And as you can see, that's the audio output along with the narration part. So what I'll do is I will load the volume of that to about there. So it's a bit low. Save it. Press play. And if you like the song, why not download it? There's many others by Koit. I want it to be a bit louder actually. So I'll put that to about there. And save it again. Now all I need to do is grab the bits from the other animation, the arrows and stuff, which are here. So if I go back to Bum and grab those lines, so we've got, as you can see there, arrows, text, end back I don't need because I've already got that on the other one. Basically that's the background. So I'm going to copy the frames. Now I'll go over to here, paste these bad boys in, and there you go. So those will appear across the end piece. So it's the same animation. It'll just zoom out, and then that will come in. So if I put them actually there, that'll do that. And that's it. So I'll publish this, and then I'll show you the last step before I upload to YouTube. Okay, and the last step I use, and I'm recording this on my phone because my my screen recording software would not record this program. It's a program called Swivel. It's from those wonderful guys over at Newgrounds. Basically, what this does, it takes an SWF file or a Flash animation file and creates a video from it, which you can then upload to YouTube. So, I'm going to add my file.
What does the duck do? YouTube. Press OK. And then I'm going to change the start frame to number 2 because the first frame, number 1, is just like a loading screen and a play button. We don't want that to appear on the animation that goes onto YouTube. So there we go. I literally press convert, blah, blah, blah. And then the program itself starts encoding the video, and then it'll do the music at the end and the animation, and the sound effects and stuff. I'm not going to show you this whole process. It can take quite a while. And there you go.
Okay, and that's it. That's how I complete my animations from start to finish. If you want to watch the song process, there's another video on that, and then you can see the complete, shenanigans from A to B. The song straight through to the animation. Anyway, for now, go and watch some old videos of mine. Go and have some fun. Go and buy some of my songs. Just go outside and have a good day. Either way, thank you for watching. See you next time.